High above Neuffen, the ruins of Hohenneuffen have watched this valley for nearly 1,000 years. Today we set out to stand inside those ancient walls, but sometimes exploration has other plans. But as I so often do, I start where all journeys to this mountain truly begin, exploring the town of Neuffen below, wandering through medieval vineyards, and up the winding paths that carried centuries of life toward the powerful castle ruins above. Welcome to Neuffen, Germany. Welcome back, adventurers. Today we're in Neuffen in Germany in the Swabian Alps, otherwise known as Swabian Juna. Now, I've never been to this region, but we got ourselves a kitchen here, and the ingredients that we have are history, nature, beauty, and so much more, including legends. And I'm just really excited to check out this place because we're going to hike up to the castle. As usual, we tend to end on a castle, but we need to start exploring this town, and I'm really curious because I don't really know much about it. I do know a bit about the castle, and we're going to talk about the history because remember, on this channel, we talk about what is that, and that is exactly what we're going to do today. And we're going to learn a little bit, and you're going to learn a little bit, I hope, and we're going to enjoy some beautiful scenery. So let's get the adventure started. I want to find a local bakery because I'm very curious to see what kind of baked goods they have in this region. Let's get going. So now we have ourselves one of the classic what is that moments in the middle of Neuffen. We're walking past here and there is a statue that you're kind of like, ah man, that's really cool. And you keep on walking past it. But you shouldn't, because this guy right here, Gottfried von Neuffen, was a very important nobleman in the 12th and 13th century in the Swabian Alb region, which is where we are if you remember what I said in my intro. So next time take a look at these small statues because they have some pretty great information. Long before Neuffen had a name, people were already drawn to this hillside. The first Celtic settlement appeared here around 100 BC, followed centuries later by the Alemanni, who took control of the region in the early first millennium. The medieval town we know today emerged much later. Around 1100 AD, it enters the records. By the 13th and 14th century, the settlement received its town rights, becoming a strategic hub for trade moving across the area, and it started constructing some of what we see today. But history hit hard. During the 30 Years' War, the town was plundered repeatedly, the people forced to rebuild from the ruins. Some of the stones came from the damaged fortress itself, carried down and woven into Neuffen's recovery. And if you stand in the town center and look upward, you'll see it, Hohenneuffen, rising above the rooftops, a perfect first glimpse of the ruin that had watched over every chapter of Neuffen's story. I don't know if it's necessarily local, but I've never had it, so I'm going to try it anyway. It's the Dinkel's Quarktasche. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but this is what it looks like. I honestly don't even know what it is, but let's give it a try. Yeah. I'm gonna finish this, and then we're hiking up to the castle through the vineyards, which I didn't mention earlier. This is also wine country, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about that. So let me finish up here and let's get up to the castle. What I'm looking for right now is a little donkey. It's a statue of a donkey. Now, I don't even want to call it a statue because it's not even really a statue. It's just a piece of metal. It's a donkey. But there is a reason for this donkey being in the middle of Neuffen. And before we hike up to the castle, I think it's kind of a cool story to learn. And I think I found him. So let's check out the donkey. Now, this is not a normal statue that you'll see on this channel, but there is a reason behind it, and that is because there is a legend about the castle and the town that includes a donkey. Now, if you want the full legend along with all the other legends and folklore of this town, of this castle, check out my other channel, Aerial Folklore, and you'll get the full thing of that with all the aerial footage of today. But let me give you a high-level overview of what this donkey is all about. The castle was besieged, as legend says, and the donkey brought the water up to all the people that were in the castle and being besieged. Now, when they were down to their last foods, their last water, all of that, they said, oh, this is a problem, right? Well, they gave all their food and water to the donkey, threw the donkey over the walls, and the besieging army thought, hey, they have so much food in there, we should probably give up and go home. And that's what they did, or at least according to legend. So that's why there's a donkey in the middle of Neuffen, and it's a pretty obscure donkey. But check it out. Now you know the story as to why if you do come here and you do see it. But now it is castle time, or it's vineyard time, then castle time. It's hike time, vineyard time, then castle time. So let's go. Let's go to the castle. All right, I underestimated that. What I wanted to tell you about these vineyards, give me a second, this will get me in shape quick. What I want to tell you about these vineyards are extremely old. They're from the medieval times. They're from the medieval times. They date back over 700 years, up to 750 years with the first documented vineyards. The other cool thing about them is they were maintained by monasteries by monks. But you don't want to hear me huffing and puffing telling you about the history of these places. Why don't I switch over to some beautiful drone shots of these vineyards, of the town, and tell you more about these vineyards as I catch my breath, because we still have to go up a bit. So I'll let the drone take over. All right, while I catch my breath, the story of Neuffen isn't just written in stone, it's rooted in these hillsides. Wine has been grown here since the Middle Ages, first cultivated by monasteries that understood the value of these sun-soaked slopes. By the late 1200s, records already list Neuffen as a trusted wine supplier for the Württemberg court. The terraces you see today follow an ancient Swabian technique, carving steep steps into the mountain to catch every ray of light. For centuries, this land was work, livelihood, and survival. After the devastation of wars, it was wine growing that helped Neuffen rebuild season after season, harvest after harvest. These hillsides are part of the protected designation of origin for Württemberg wines, home to classic Swabian varieties like Trollinger, Riesling, and Lemberger. And today, the Württemberg wine route still winds its way through Neuffen just as it has for generations. So we made it to Hohenneuffen Castle ruins, except we aren't really in the castle ruins. They're behind me. The reason for that is because when we got up here, we finally realized as we were about to enter that you can't actually film for YouTube or anything like that in the castle. You can't fly the drones over it either. The word frustration might come to mind, but when we're traveling and when we're exploring, sometimes we miss little details like, hey, I can't film in the castle, and that one's on me. However, we did get some drone shots from a distance, and I still want to show that because that is within the rules. And we want to talk about the history because it is such a great castle. This is the reason we came to Neuffen to begin with. We actually are filming at a different location tomorrow in the same region. That's why we came to this region. But I'm really happy we still came here, even though we have a little disappointment by not being able to get in the castle. I said we were going to cook today with a lot of ingredients, and we're kind of missing the castle piece of it. But that's okay, because we still had a great day, and we're going to talk about history and a little bit about the legends. So let's get into that with the drone footage. Before we finish off, we're going to hike back down and we're going to finish off the video down there. So let's talk about the castle. Situated high above Neuffen at 743 meters, the ruins of Hohenneuffen command the horizon, a fortress born from the ambitions of the lords of Neuffen around 1100 AD. Its first recorded mention in 1198 already marks its importance along the trade routes of Württemberg. In the 14th centuries, the Counts of Württemberg seized the stronghold and expanded it into one of the region's most formidable defenses. Even during the Peasants' War of the 1520s, rebels could not break these walls. A century later, Duke Ulrich transformed Hohenneuffen into a Baroque fortress, turning it into a symbol of Württemberg's strength. And by the 1700s, it had become a state prison, a place where political captives waited out their fates behind the fortress gates. But time and history took their toll. Abandoned in 1793, the once mighty structure was slowly quarried for stone by the people who lived beneath it. What remains today are its colossal ramparts, open to the wind and sky, and now Hohenneuffen stands as one of the largest castle ruins on the Swabian Alb. All right, well, we didn't get in the castle, we got to the castle. And we did get to visit a really great town, get to see some pretty cool vineyards, and in general, we just had a really good day. And that is important, and that's part of travel, that's part of exploration. You can't always get your way. And it's unfortunate, but sometimes it happens. Maybe they'll see this video and invite us back and get to go inside the castle. Special access, huh? But what we have planned for tomorrow is really why we're here. And it's where a novel inspired the development of this version of the castle. And that's Schloss Liechtenstein in Baden-Württemberg, Germany. So I can't wait for it. That's going to be next week for you guys. Make sure you subscribe so you can see this episode. It's going to be a great one. And I had a great time anyway today again. Sometimes you don't get your way. Until next time, adventurers, adventure awaits.